Today is Thanksgiving in the United States, and President Biden posted a couple of celebratory messages, which were warm, wholesome, and unifying. In contrast, the incoming president, Donald Trump, posted a predictably unhinged and insane message attacking his political critics and enemies, and this in turn was celebrated by MAGA, and it suggests that we are in for a rough and divisive 4 years. And on top of all of that, I want to give you a channel update and what you can expect from Pondering Politics here in the future. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, I just got back from celebrating Thanksgiving with my girlfriend and several of our friends, and it was a really good time. And to those of you who observe Thanksgiving, I hope you've had a great day doing so. Let's get into the politics first, though. So when you're the president of the United States, you are the chief executive, you are the head of government, you are the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, you're the most powerful person on earth, but you're also head of state. And what head of state means is effectively you're supposed to be, as much as you can be, a national unifying symbol. Now, in the United States, we are very polarized, we are very divided, and in this day and age, it's very difficult for a head of state, Republican or Democrat, to truly embody that to the extent that it was ever possible in the first place. But you have to make note when your leaders try. They at least attempt to represent as many people as possible. They try to be wholesome and warm and unifying to the extent that they're able. And so I want to give you some stark contrasts. The current president of the United States, Joe Biden, said this: "Happy Thanksgiving, America. May we use this moment to take time from our busy lives and focus on what matters most: our families, our friends, our neighbors, and the fact that we've been blessed to live in America, the greatest country on earth. Happy Thanksgiving." He also posted a video here. We're actually going to look at it, but he says this: "With hearts full of gratitude, happy Thanksgiving, America. Jill and I are so grateful for the trust you've placed in us these past 4 years. Serving you has been the honor of our lives." And there's a 36-second video attached to it that we're going to play right now.
During this past season of giving thanks and gratitude, we wanted you to know how grateful we are for the trust you put in us these past 4 years. It's been the honor of our lives to serve you in the White House. We keep in our hearts and our prayers those who will have an empty seat at their table this year. Now, we're blessed to live in the United States of America. We're literally the greatest country on earth. No matter what, we never give up. We keep going. We keep the faith in America. Happy Thanksgiving, America.
So that was the message from President Biden. Now, again, Joe Biden is not popular. He has been unpopular really since the beginning of the withdrawal from Afghanistan, which, by the way, I would argue it took immense courage to do, because Bush didn't do it, President Obama didn't do it, Trump didn't do it. All of previous presidents since we were in Afghanistan kicked the can down the road. And so for 3 years, President Biden has been unpopular. And that's okay if you don't like him. That's okay if you didn't intend to vote for him or you didn't vote for Kamala Harris. We can disagree. But the point is, Biden attempted, whether you like him or not, as he's attempted multiple times, to give a unifying message, a warm message, a wholesome message, because he takes the notion that you are head of state, and so you are supposed to serve all the people, including people who don't like you, including people who don't vote for you, including people of the opposite side of the spectrum, as much as you can. I want you to contrast this with the former president of the United States, who's about to become the president of the United States again, Donald Trump. This is real. He says, "Happy Thanksgiving to all, including the radical left lunatics who have worked so hard to destroy our country, but who have miserably failed and will always fail because their ideas and policies are so hopelessly bad that the great people of our nation just gave a landslide victory to those who want to make America great again. Don't worry, our country will soon be respected, productive, fair, and strong, and you will be, more than ever, proud to be an American." That was a real message by the former head of state, who's about to become the head of state again. And instead of taking the time to try to unify and build bridges and heal wounds and mend fences, which some Trump apologists have assured us he would do, that all of the divisive rhetoric, all of the references to immigrants as vermin poisoning the blood of our nation, all the references to his political opponents in the media being enemies of the state, the enemy within against whom he wants to deploy the military, all of that was just campaign rhetoric. We're about to see a different side to Donald Trump. We've been assured by the few people who had the temerity to try to make that claim. Now, most MAGA won't even say that. They'll either ignore what he says or they celebrate it. If you look, 485,000 likes on this Twitter post. If you Google Trump Happy Thanksgiving, you'll find people who criticize him, but you'll find a lot of Trump supporters who are openly celebrating that message that he sent. A lot of people love that Donald Trump doesn't even try to unify, and all he does is attack, attack, attack. Of course, the question is, what would happen if the shoe were on the other foot? This is something that Mehdi Hasan and others, myself included, have pointed out. What would happen if Joe Biden had said Happy Thanksgiving to all, including the radical right-wing lunatics who did X, Y, and Z? How would Fox react? How would the Daily Wire react? How would Trump himself react? How would elected Republicans react? How would Republican voters react? How would mainstream media, including CNN and the New York Times, react if Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or a prominent Democrat said something that unhinged and insane and vicious towards people they don't like on Thanksgiving? Well, obviously there would be a very different reaction. But for Trump, it's celebrated and normalized. And even the people who don't like it just kind of shrug because they grade Trump on a curve. The New York Post, which is a right-wing Murdoch-owned enterprise, this is how they describe it. Trump sticks to spicy holiday tradition as he wishes radical left lunatics a happy Thanksgiving. And they describe this article, they describe these words from Trump in kind of celebratory ways, that this is spicy, enthusiastic holiday messages is how they describe it. Enthusiastic holiday messages have become something of a tradition for the once and future president. That was an enthusiastic message. Again, imagine, take the same words and just instead left, just put right instead, right lunatics, and change the name from Donald Trump to Joe Biden. Would the New York Post be calling this a spicy holiday tradition? Would they refer to it as an enthusiastic holiday message? No. What we're up against is a media ecosystem which benefits the right, advantages the right, holds the right to lower standards, rewards the right for violating those standards anyways. And in addition to all the other political disadvantages of the left and liberals and the Democrats, we have to contend with this. And it's important to note the hypocrisy because some people on the fringes will consider that. But it's important to understand that MAGA doesn't care. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Mike Johnson, Mitch McConnell, Fox News, Piers Morgan, Konstantin Kisin of Trigonometry, centrists and Republicans and MAGA, they don't care about this. They will simultaneously complain about the rhetoric of the left and liberals and progressives and Democrats and Joe Biden, but never complain about any of that from Trump and MAGA. And they don't care, and they actually know that their shamelessness empowers them. They celebrate it, they cheer it. It amuses them that we point out their hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is such a disgusting habit, I think, for most people. Like most people, if you talk about hypocrites, they will tell you, well, we don't like hypocrites. I imagine if you asked MAGA, what do you think of hypocrites? They would say, oh, hypocrites are disgusting. We as a people tend to have a visceral distaste for hypocrisy until, of course, it advantages us. And MAGA is unique in this respect because it animates the MAGA movement. And so again, if you were to point this out to Mike Johnson or to Piers Morgan, they would smile at you, not because they're stupid. They recognize the asymmetry, the hypocrisy, and the double standards, but they love owning the libs more than sticking to single standards. And the fact that this could upset people or frustrate people amuses them. And so they cheer it on. And that's if they don't actively hate liberals and progressives, just inherently anyway. But he's about to become president, and this is what we can look forward to. So you should keep that in mind. And we'll see what we can do during these next 4 years to try to mitigate the damage, hopefully by retaking one or both chambers of Congress in the midterms. But that's going to be across a span of 2 years. So now let's talk about the channel, Pondering Politics. Folks, I really appreciate this past year in terms of the content. It's been very, very difficult, I will tell you. Spiritually, emotionally, physically, I've gained weight. I don't sleep as much as I used to. It has been intense because this is a one-person channel. I do all my research. I do all my recording, all my editing, all the upload, the thumbnails, the SEO. I am a one-man show for better or worse. I imagine oftentimes for worse, as many people point out, like I'll make mistakes, I'll misspeak. That's because I'm speaking extemporaneously. I don't have a written script and I don't have editors. And so it's truly been a force. It's been like a lot to deal with. And of course, I'm emotionally invested in politics as well. It's not just a sport to me, as I imagine it is to a lot of you. You all are emotionally invested in this. So it's been tough, but it's also been really good in the sense that 428,000 subscribers, 1,813 videos, 165 million views. And you all made that happen, right? I had to put in the work, but you all had to watch. And you gave the work too. You gave your time, you gave your comments, you gave your feedback. And I really appreciate it. And I know that it was difficult at times because sometimes I said things you disagreed with. And sometimes it wasn't even that. It was just covering politics. This election cycle has been brutal. Donald Trump is somebody, he's mentally, spiritually, psychologically exhausting for you and for me and for everybody. Totally get it. But since it is Thanksgiving, I just want to say, I really appreciate it. I appreciate those of you who are watching. I appreciate those of you who will watch in the future. And I'm not going anywhere. I intend to continue to do this as we enter the next Trump era. I was not a content creator when Trump was president last time, so it'll be interesting to see how this is done in a world where Democrats are out of power and we are truly at the mercy of Donald Trump and the GOP. So a couple of things just to kind of set the table about what you can expect in the future. Probably going to shoot for 4 or 5 videos a day, Monday through Friday. I'm going to take Saturdays off and do 2 to 3 videos on Sunday. So I try to be as consistent as possible. I was up to 6 or 7 videos a day during the height of the election, and it was usually every day. So I'm trying to take a step back. I have a girlfriend and friends, and I'm trying to have a work-life balance, trying to get in better shape, get my health under control. So what you can expect is 4 to 5 videos a day, assuming the news cycle permits it. There's stuff to talk about. I also intend to do more collaborative events. So at the time of recording on Monday, I'm going to interview Kyle Kulinski, friend of the show of Secular Talk. I'm also going to be talking to Wajaha Ali of The Left Hook. He's a frequent Piers Morgan guest. He is a friend of Mehdi Hassan. I'm going to be collaborating with Brian Tyler Cohen. Luke Beasley and I collaborate, friend of the show, friend of mine, Luke Beasley, somebody without whom I would not be here. He and I are resuming our weekly collaborations where he and I do a video for my channel and he and I do a video for his channel. So that collaborative spirit is going to help animate the channel. It triggers, engages my brain in different ways and hopefully creates good content for you as well. Because I'm sure you're here, presumably you like me, but I also hope you like them as well. And if you haven't yet, please be sure to like and subscribe to their channels and their social media as well. Every week on Wednesdays at 7:30, unless there's an emergency or a holiday, at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesdays, there's Live and Learn, the live show that I do with Hutch and Pisco and Akana Boy. That will continue for an hour and a half. And also in the future on Tuesdays, I'm going to blow the dust off something I started to do a couple of months ago, but then again, the horse race of the election got in the way. It was some sort of feedback. I was basically going live and I was opening the floor to people who want to give me feedback, but more specifically, those who disagree with me. So if you're in the audience and you're a conservative or you're a centrist or you're even a liberal or a progressive and you disagree with me, it was going to be an opportunity for you to come on and we could chat. And so I'm going to start doing that on Tuesdays, called Talk Tuesdays, for 1 hour every Tuesday. I'm not going to go for 3 or 4 hours. I'm going to try to go for 1 hour. I imagine there won't be a lot of bites. I hope it takes off. But I also don't want to twiddle my thumbs for like 2 or 3 hours. So right now it's going to be locked in at an hour every Tuesday, Talk Tuesdays. So if you disagree with me, over a minor issue, a major issue, no matter where you are on the political spectrum. That'll be your chance to kind of hash things out and maybe persuade me to see things from your perspective. So Talk Tuesdays will become a thing. And so that's the game plan. So again, more collaboration, because I really want to work with Luke and Destiny and Kyle Kalinske and Brian Tyler Cohen and other people in the space who are more aligned with the Democratic Party to beef up the ecosystem to the extent that I'm able. Adam Mockler, again, friend of the show, friend of mine from Midas Touch. He's another person that I hope to collaborate with more frequently, again, because I think it's good for everyone involved and it's a different type of content, so you'll get more variety. Those are the plans. And of course, the last thing I'll say is I hope there will be more opportunity now that the election news have died down to create more opportunity to do deeper dives and things that I'm passionate about, like, again, Supreme Court reform and the system of checks and balances that we're currently facing, because I imagine that's all going to be quite relevant in a Trump administration, because the only checks that are going to be on Trump are going to come from institutions, and more specifically, the conservatives in those institutions taking their oaths to the Constitution seriously over their personal loyalty to Trump. So that's the plan. Again, to recap, thanks to you all, 428,000 subscribers, 165 million views. I appreciate it. I hope that we can continue to grow the channel, that you'll continue to watch. We're going to have Live and Learn every week, Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have Talk Tuesdays, time to be determined, but I expect it'll be 7 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to have more frequent collaborations with friends of the show and friends of mine. So there's going to be a lot of content coming down the path, and I hope you really enjoy it. And again, since it is Thanksgiving, thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart, and I will see you all tomorrow. In the meantime, per usual, let me know what you think in the comments.